Hello, beautiful friends and book lovers. I hope that you are all doing well. Today, I am going to be reviewing one of the best thrillers I have read this year. It is called The Stalker by Sarah Alderson. I personally requested this book via NetGalley and was granted the ARC. And oh my God, I'm so happy that I did. I just filmed a 10 plus thriller TBR, all these thrillers I'm going to be reading for spooky season, but also just over the next coming months. And a lot of them were books that I thought personally sounded good, and I requested them on NetGalley and was granted them. The Stalker is one that I requested a couple months ago, and the pub date is October 5th. So in like a couple days, I'm filming this very early October. Okay, just kidding. The Kindle version is available now, but the actual paper book comes out on October 5th. But I will put the link for you to purchase the book via Amazon in the description box below. If you don't have a Kindle, you can just get the Kindle app on your phone for free. That's what I do. I never actually bought a Kindle. I just do it that way. But basically, I'm super happy that I was granted this because it is so freaking good. So the premise is a young couple rented an entire Scottish island for their honeymoon. Their names are Laura and Liam, and they think they are in for the time of their lives. An entire island to themselves. I mean, it sounds amazing. They don't have to worry about cell phones and sharing their space with other people. Like, honestly, what could be better? Just like being isolated for a little bit. But then Laura starts to notice strange things. She thinks she sees a man on the island, but they were told that they were for sure the only people on the island. So basically the story just kicks off there. Like, imagine being told, like, 100% guaranteed you're the only couple on this island. Like, you paid for the seclusion, nobody else is here, but like somebody else is definitely on the island, and like some really scary stuff goes down. It is so freaking good. I was like on the edge of my seat. I couldn't even read this one at night because it was freaking me out. So it's like perfect for spooky season, especially if you like books like that like really keep you on the edge of your seat. An aspect of this book that I really liked is I talk about this in my reviews all the time, but one of my favorite kinds of thrillers is when you're like torn between like, is the protagonist like really crazy? Is something going on with them that is making them think that they're seeing all of these things? And we find out very early on in the book that Laura is on new antidepressant medication. So it makes you kind of think as a thriller or as the reader, like, is all of this stuff really going on? Or like, are these side effects of her new medication? You know how like a lot of authors will do that. Like, oh, you know, the protagonist is trying out a new medication and these are the possible side effects. And like, I love stuff like that. Even more strange things are starting to happen on the island, and Liam starts to be convinced then too. So it's like, is she just making him paranoid or what's going on? It's so freaking good. I am so happy to say that on my book rating scale, I am giving this a go get this book now. I told you the link is in the bio. It's pretty cheap right now on Kindle, but also I'm sure the paperback will be less than like 15 too. But I have not read a book with this creepy of a setting in such a long time. Like, I loved the seclusion aspect. I love like the no cell service, like you're secluded, nobody else is supposed to be here with you. There are no backup generators if stuff starts to go crazy. And to top it off, when they were dropped off at this secluded island, the person driving, or the person that they were with on the boat, said a terrible storm was coming too. So it's like, just imagine like getting cozy and like reading this book and being like, okay, this couple is literally stuck on this island with a crazy storm and like no backup generators or anything. And they were in a bar before they came to the island, and someone said that the island is haunted and terrible things have happened there. And I was like, okay, great. We got some hauntings. We have a potential stalker. We got like a whole ton of crazy stuff going on. It seriously does not get better than that. This is a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads, 5 out of 5 on NetGalley. My personal rating, it's a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason that it's not a perfect 10 out of 10, and here's my disclaimer, there are some scenes that are pretty tough to read, pretty like gruesome scenes that I just like personally at the time, like being a month postpartum, was really struggling, like reading all of that. I'm like, oh my God, this is like so freaking gross, but it was good. Some parts are a little tough to read. I literally wrote in my notes, I was 20 days postpartum. It's so funny. I can usually stomach thrillers pretty well. But just like at the time I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so freaking gruesome. But overall it's a fantastic thriller. And if you go into it knowing that it can be like kind of graphic, you'll be just fine. Especially if you can like typically handle a lot of thrillers, you'll be great. But if you're new here, I pop into the book chat part of the video for those of us who have read. So I am going to film that right now. I know that, actually no, some of you could have read this because the Kindle is out already. But like I said, I'll link the book in the bio for you if this sounds like something you want to read. And I would love if you could connect with me on Instagram and Goodreads. I'll put that, I'm sure I've already put that in the video when I edit this. But yeah, now I'm gonna get chatting about the book. So this part will contain spoilers. So I was predicting that maybe Liam was working with the man on the island to make Laura think that she was crazy. That was a wrong prediction. I then started to suspect that maybe Liam was Ethan, which I wasn't wrong there. But no way did I think that one, Mia was still alive, and two, that the girls were working together. When you think back on the book, once you learn that Laura is in like that extremely toxic and abusive relationship, I had no idea that he was like so controlling until we got that scene with the bird. I thought it was annoyed that he was like, or I thought it was so weird that he was like annoyed with her wanting to care for the bird. Remember that scene? He was like, well, it's just like a bird, like throw it back out in the wilderness. And I was like, damn, dude, show some compassion. I'm like, we're starting to see his true colors. But the author did a good job of really hiding what was going on. Because, you know, in the end, we start to find out like the truth of like how he's being like, oh my gosh, you're fat, you need to stop eating. And like, that's why she's never eating. Like, we had all of the clues in front of us, but we only had like that muffled perspective, if you will, like not really what was going on behind the scenes. I thought it was a nice twist that not only was Mia on the island, but the other McKay son was too. So it's like the man wasn't a figment of their imagination. He really was just trying to survive on the island, but was it him really peering into the cabin on them, like curious of who they were, or was it Mia that those two were always seeing? I really think it was him just like spying. I'm so glad that Liam got what was coming to him with that horrible trap at the end. It sounded so painful and like it inflicted so much pain on him. And, you know, he had done that to the girls. So it was like karma. Reading the scenes with him and Laura and him and Mia, they were so disgusting and so disturbing. Like, seriously, such a vile person. And that's what I was talking about in the non-spoiler part of the video, was like, I was just like really struggling reading with all of like the abuse and stuff. He's literally so crazy, but I really enjoyed this book. I love the twist. I love the like skewed perspective, and I'm so happy that I read it. So please leave in the comments what you thought about the book. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, you guys.